Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Famicos Community Podcast. I'm Ariana Johnson, the Communications Manager with the Famicos Foundation. Happy Black History Month, everyone. And we have some great conversations this afternoon to talk about what's going on in the Black community. First, I would like to talk about our upcoming event that's happening on Saturday, February the 24th from 12 to 1:30. It's a Hey Mama, Let's Talk About Sleep infant sleeping class that's hosted by the Famicos Foundation in partnership with Sisters Haven. It will be hosted at Lakewood Public Library, the Detroit Road branch. And if you are interested in attending, please go to https://www.eventbrite.com Hey Mama dash tickets, and we're looking forward to everyone who was able to attend on Saturday. So today we are talking about something that is very prevalent amongst the Black community, and it is lead, and that's something that we at the Famicos Foundation advocate against, or we take it very seriously. I'll say that. And so I have Miss Stacy Fenderson and Mr. Hassan Lee, who is over our Lead Safe Glenville initiative, and I'm happy to have them on the podcast today. Hi. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Hello.
Good. Okay, so the first question is extremely elementary for everyone, because we hear about lead and how bad it is, and how we can detect lead. But the first question that I have is, what exactly is lead? What is it?
So lead, prior to 1978, the homes that were painted and work that was done on the homes contained lead materials in it, which is very dangerous for children in particular, but anyone in actuality. So now there's an initiative out here where there's funding available for us to give out grants to homeowners who are in need, and their house has to be built again before 1978. And then there's other criteria. However, now with a lot of the children in the community being tested for lead and being lead poison, the funding is allowing us to reach out to, I would say for us, wards 7, 9, 10, in terms of our lead program and our lead grants, to go into the homes and offer these grants to homeowners of all ages. So whether you're a senior and or you're a mother with children, we are able to go in and looking at the properties and assess the scopes of work to see what repairs we can make to the home to make them lead safe.
Okay, excellent. And how can lead be detected in the home? Like, if you don't have access to a lead inspector and you don't know what that is, how can someone detect lead in their home?
So the first key is, again, if it was built before 1978, that's a key indicator right there. And then also, if there's chipping paint around the window sills, porches, anywhere really within the house, that would be of concern to an assessor. So that's one of the ways that we go in and kind of look at and see essentially the year that the home was built, and then any chipped paint deterioration. It could be from a roof leak where the ceiling is kind of coming in, and of course underneath that paint is coming down. That could be have lead in it. So yeah.
Sounds good. Okay. So is there a specific place in the house that's a common place to find lead, or is it just prevalent amongst the home that was built before 1978?
It can be in any painted surface.
Okay.
But particularly for kids, I would say maybe window sills or things of that nature that they may be playing around, or on doors or anything like that, because it can be in any painted surface.
Okay. And how can is there, just to piggyback off of the previous question, how can someone detect lead in their home? Is it something that is a specific color? Does it have a smells to it? I mean, aside from the chipping of the paint, which you mentioned, is there anything else that somebody should look for?
The failing paint is pretty much the main indicator. Typically, that's about it. The chipping and failing paint is what we're looking for in a visual inspection. So other than testing it, where we collect samples or we use a specialized piece of equipment, it's an XRF machine. Besides that, there's really no other indicators of the lead.
Okay.
Like Stacy alluded to, 1978 homes built before that date is a real good indication. And then failing paint, any type of paint that is deteriorated, there's an assumption that there's lead there.
Okay. And how many homes in Cleveland have lead in them? Like, if you can give me like either like a ballpark figure, like how many homes?
I can't give a number, but again, if they were built before 1978, I would say that would be quite a few.
Okay. And how does, like, I've heard that, lead affects children in their development process, but what exactly does it do to a child or children in the home?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, lead impacts children in a number of ways, typically their overall development, but more specifically their brain development. These lead is very harmful to young people in their development. So, brain development, overall development, things of that sort, yes.
Okay. Because I know that like, learning disabilities. Well, I've heard that learning disabilities such as ADD and ADHD often is associated with children who have been exposed to lead in the home, and that's why a lot of organizations such as the Black Children Development Institute in Cleveland, Ohio, is working toward like spreading the word about getting your child tested for lead, and going to the pediatrician if they if it seems like they're having some type of developmental issue, go to the doctor to get them tested for lead immediately. So,
Certainly.
yeah. So what is the Glenville Lead Initiative? Like the mission, and the purpose. We'll start with that question.
So for us, our initiative is to stop kids from being lead poisoned, for sure. That's the main thing. For our particular program, again, our wards are 7, 9, 10 in terms of lead, and we want to reach out to as many residents as we possibly can, as well as landlords, to service their homes so that we can stop any additional children from being poisoned.
Okay. And you mentioned grants being rendered. Is that something that you all render under the Lead Safe initiative?
Yes, we do. So once we take in a application, we assess it, make sure they're qualified, and then we are able to go in and do, again, a scope of work to see what needs to be done in the home, and then we can offer the services to that homeowner and or the landlord of the property to go in and service the home so we can make it lead safe. So our goal is to make the homes lead safe. And so that's the main program in terms of the grants that we currently have are coming down the pike.
And then you also mentioned that the purpose is to make sure that children, specifically in the wards that you mentioned,
Correct.
live in let's say homes. And I know that, for example, one of your team members, Telawanda, she did a presentation at a heritage school in East Cleveland in the fall of last year. So is there an educational piece to the Lead Safe Glenville initiative?
Yeah, so every Tuesday, I believe it's still Tuesday and Thursday, Ms. Moore is still hosting lead education courses at the main office. So if I'm correct, I believe it's at 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock on those days.
Okay. So that's at 1325 Ansel Road,
Yes.
and that's what specific day? Just to reiterate, the day that she hosts the class.
I believe the days are Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay, sounds good. All right, and how long has the Glenville Lead Safe Initiative been in existence?
Since 2018.
Okay. Okay. So, like us, we mentioned, or you guys mentioned, that one of the requirements is that a home has to be built before 1978, and then you all mentioned that there was paint, and if the paint has chipping associated with it, then it has lead, which means that obviously it's one of the requirements for services to be rendered to the Lead Safe initiative for Famicos, but are there any other specific requirements aside from that? Any type of financial requirements or anything else?
So we do assess, we'll take in their income, but for this particular grant, anyone will be able to receive some service.
Okay.
It doesn't matter about their income in terms of there's a smaller grant that if they exceed the normal guidelines, but there are still some help available for each unit.
All right.
Okay.
And then what are the specific grants that are offered to homeowners, as well as people who are just maybe, they might live in a home that has lead, but they're renters. What type of grants are available to them?
So it's the same grant. We, of course, have to get the owner's permission to actually, service their property, but it's the same grant. We're able to look at, for example, windows, doing some repainting, could be doors, maybe replacing doors. It depends on the scope of work, again, for each individual house, so it's not every house gets the same thing. It doesn't work like that. It depends on what the assessment indicates, and then we'll go from there and do the scope of work, and then offer that to the homeowner and the family.
Okay, awesome. And then, so I'm just gonna skip over these. Like how many homes since the Glenville, if you could give me a ballpark figure, like how many homes have already been serviced under the initiative?
So I wouldn't have that.
That's a great question. I'm not certain to the number, but it's been a very minimal number at this point. Yes.
Okay, and then so one of the things that I've researched about lead, especially when young children are in the home, is that sometimes they'll like eat it because it has a sweet taste associated to it. So, and then earlier we discussed how it could, be very, it can stifle a child's development. But are there any like specific signs that you know of that if a parent or a family member, seen their child or grandchild or, niece or nephew, they've been acting a little wonky lately and they live in a home that has lead in it, is there a specific signs that they should look for or
So again, that's a really good question. I don't want to suggest that like we're medical,
Right,
clinicians or anything like that. But I don't know if there's a telltale sign of it. Developmental delays vary. There is a spectrum associated with that. But if you feel that there's something not right with your child, I would encourage any responsible adult to investigate that further. We're talking about your child here. So any developmental delays, something as simple as, your child may not be speaking to you. They may be somewhat introverted. They may not want to continue acting socially with their friends. There's a number of things that, you could potentially look at. But again, there's no, as far as I'm concerned, there's no telltale sign of it. They need to do a test, and that's why. And with that test will tell you if you have an elevated blood lead level, and if you do, then that's lead poisoning. And there are some effects of that as well.
Okay. And are there like any organizations because I know that our services, specifically, our Famicos services, we provide services for everyone throughout Cuyahoga County. But just in the event that someone doesn't know that, are there any like organizations that that the lead initiative like collaborates with, that if somebody lives in like Maple or Garfield Heights, they could get in touch with if they need their house tested for lead?
So I would say there's a Lead Safe Coalition that can connect callers to different services available, particularly maybe in different wards and in different, other locations.
Okay. And then talk to us about the lead inspection training program. Like, what is it, and what's the purpose, and how can somebody get involved?
Yeah, that's a great question. The Lead Safe Coalition, they are helping facilitate that. They are offering courses to get lead certifications periodically throughout the year. So if someone would be interested in getting a lead certification, they could reach out to the Lead Safe Coalition and the Environmental Health Watch.
Okay. And so a person like if they go through the certification program and they are a certified lead inspector, they just go into like homes and then they like test the lead and the lead in the paint to see if lead in the paint, or how would that work from a training aspect?
So the inspectors don't actually test for lead. They do a visual inspection on the outside of the home and the interior of the home, and then they collect samples of the paint. There is a third party that is associated with the testing overall. That third party is a lab that the independent risk assessors and clearance technicians can use on their own. They are a third party, but they would send those samples off, and then those samples would come back with a reading. It is up to the inspector or the clearance technician to then tally those readings, create a report, and then submit to the city one way or the other.
Okay, good to know. And then who is eligible for the lead inspection training program? Is it like open to, recent high school graduates, or, somebody who's had like experience in environmental sustainability? Because, a lot of people, they're not going to go to college and they don't want to go to college, but vocational training is always, good, beneficial for everyone. So like what is the requirements to be eligible for the program?
So
Please.
so it just depends on what you're applying. So an RRP, for example, you really, they can train, a person that don't have much experience how to be an RRP, get certified to have their RRP training. Also clearance technician training, I would say. When you talk about a lead abatement contractor, because we need those people as well, we need lead risk assessors, they ask for a bit more experience and so forth and so on. That'd be correct.
Yeah, what I'd like to add to that is that anyone can become a lead risk assessor. There aren't any requisite training for the risk assessor or the clearance tech. Now, like Stacy alluded to, the contractor piece, there is experience that needs to accompany your training or your classwork, but as far as becoming a risk assessor, you can be not a risk assessor 1 week. You go to the a 40-hour course. You get certified if you pass the state test. So it's as simple as that.
And then what's a lead abatement contractor?
So a lead abatement contractor is, I would say, a general contractor who typically works on homes, all right, rehabs homes.
Okay.
But then they have gone through the training,
Yes.
the specific training in terms of how to do lead abatement and or lead safe repairs. So typically it's, it's people with some experience. You don't necessarily have to have it, but typically it's general contractors that are adding another layer of
Yes.
services to what they already do, right? So we're still looking for people who have that type of experience, and it could be little, you can always be trained, but typically it's general contractors with experience that are adding another layer, which is the training in terms of being lead safe.
Okay, awesome. And then talk to us about from a vocational standpoint, from a training standpoint, it's very important. But like just from a personal standpoint, because obviously you guys' passion is to advocate for families and children within the Glenville area, but also just in the area in our city. Like, what is the importance of people to get this training as a lead assessor and a lead abatement contractor? Like, what's the importance of this information or education?
So, as you know, we do have a lot of properties here in the city of Cleveland that are affected with lead, have lead in them. So we need contractors to come in and service those homes. So the importance is coming in, having enough contractors to come in and meet the goals to try to service all the homes that need the service. So we're hoping that people who are interested or have maybe not even thought about it, that have, some general contracting experience, to look into this and take the opportunity to add another layer of business to their portfolio, so that they can help the residents and the children in the community.
Okay, excellent. And can you please? Well, I already asked you this question. If you don't live in Glenville, and you would like your house tested, you would get in touch with the lead safe initiative, so that services just
They can
Cuyahoga
point them in
County.
direction.
Yeah. Okay. And can you give us the contact information for the Lead Safe Glenville initiative?
So for let's say.
I kind of just look it up. I can get it for you. Oh man.
Look, everybody calls us, right? So that's how we service our people. But yeah.
Okay, so if somebody would call the main line 216-791-6476, it can be connected to the Lead Safe initiative.
And they can also call our number as well, which is a 216-501-8040. Yep.
Alrighty, well, that was definitely vital and beneficial information. We look forward to seeing all of the work that you all will do, specifically during the summer months, because I know that when the weather breaks, you all are going to be out in the field doing,
Certainly.
advocating and doing more to bring more services to the homes in Glenville, and to make sure that all of our families and children are living in lead-free homes. So I thank you all for being on the podcast, and I thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Very good.
All right. Well, thank you all. This is another Famicos Community Podcast, the February episode, and we will see you all soon.